Coming off striking out a season-high 7. The payoff. Got him.
Hard hit into right. Back at the wall. Tie game!
Mitch White gets out of the bases loaded.
Herzlich willkommen, liebe Leute, zu einer Sonderausgabe von Bases Loaded Spezial. Wir haben heute einen ganz besonderen Gast bei uns in der Show, auch zum ersten Mal auf Video. Mitch White, Starting Pitcher von den Toronto Blue Jays. Erstmal einen Applaus dafür, dass er hier an der Show ist.
Thanks for being here, Mitch.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Er hat sich die Zeit genommen und wir werden jetzt auf Englisch weitermachen, damit er natürlich uns auch alle versteht. Und wenn ihr was nicht versteht, Markus wird es übersetzen. Ansonsten hoffen wir auf eure Englischkenntnisse. Yeah, Mitch, nice to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, of course.
First of all, how are you?
I'm great. I'm in Pittsburgh right now, which it's cool. You know, it's all right. They have a really nice ballpark. I'm trying to look out the hotel window. But yeah, it's fine. We're doing well.
That's nice, man. That's nice. You won yesterday, is that right?
Yeah.
So that. But you didn't play against them. So you have
I won't be pitching here in Pittsburgh, but I throw in our next series in Baltimore. We head out there after tomorrow's game, which is a big matchup. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys got a doubleheader on Monday, right?
Doubleheader Monday, then 1 and 1. So it'll be 4 games. And I think right now they're a game and a half behind us in the wild card. So that's the big matchup right there.
That's really big. We've been following, we have a big focus in our show on the AL East.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure,
the division, because it's the most, how you say, tightest.
Yeah,
tightest
division.
League,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
Most
just
exciting division.
everyone's just so good. It's crazy. I mean, Yankees have fallen off, but that's honestly made it worse for us because they're not beating up on the Rays and the Orioles as much, and so the Rays and the Orioles have been shooting up. So
crazy.
It makes it fun though at the end.
Yeah, for sure. It's good for the people out there that they get a good show.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mitch, first of all, again, thank you. And let's start from the beginning, because now we are at the present. You come from Santa Clara, California. I was researching a little bit, of course. I had to do it. It's my first time to make real research for the and just tell us how did you came to baseball, how went everything in the direction that moves you to the spot where you are right now?
Sure. So I mean, I started playing when I was maybe 5 or 6, just a little t-ball, just screwing around. I didn't really love baseball until college. So from 5 to 6 until through Little League, I hated it. I wanted to quit. My dad never let me. I was playing other sports, but I mean, I was just good at baseball. So I had to stick with it. In high school, it was something to do. It was fun with my friends and stuff, but that's about it, honestly. And then the way it works for college, you get scouted and stuff, and you go to all these events and you try to get seen by college coaches or obviously professional scouts, but I was never really good enough in high school. Plus I hurt my elbow. So I think it was junior year of high school. I got scouted by Santa Clara, which is really close to home. It's 20 minutes away. And I went there, loved it at school. We were terrible at baseball, but that's all right. It was still fun. And then I got drafted by the Dodgers in 2016. So I graduated high school in 13. 2016, I got drafted by the Dodgers. and then was with them the last 5 or 6 years, and just got traded recently at the trade deadline about 3-4 weeks ago now, and I've been in with Toronto ever since. So that's like a basic timeline, I guess, but we can obviously get into more detail from there. But I don't want to just go on and on.
No. Can you? I mean, we played together on the Dodgers, which is obviously one of the best, if not the best, organization at the moment or team in baseball. Like, how was it for you when you got that call, or when Doc called you in the office and told you that you got traded? Like, this is the beginning of your career was with the Dodgers. It was like the team that chose you to be a professional baseball player. Like, I remember JoJo and Kabert were super emotional. How was like that moment for you when you did get that call?
Yeah, it was bizarre, man. It was like it didn't sink in until probably the next day or two, and I was just kind of stuck in limbo. It sucked, but I think it was bittersweet in that it was sad to be leaving all these people I'd been around. I mean, there's like I literally grew up around a lot of these guys, 5 or 6 years. All these like the Gavin, Tony, Dustin, Will Smith, all those guys I played with since we all got drafted together. That being said, one, I kind of saw it coming. I don't know about at the deadline, but I definitely, you can tell the way the roster was constructed. There wasn't really room for me in the years coming. I didn't think it would happen at the deadline, but whatever. And then also the fact that it's a great opportunity here, and I got really lucky to be with an organization like the Blue Jays. They run really well. They're really, really talented. They're in the playoff race. It's not like I'm just going to some other random, I won't name names, but just some other random organization.
Cincinnati, for example.
Yeah, you said it. But you know what I mean? Like, all things considered, it went as smoothly as it could have. It was definitely a shock. That immediate, I don't even know how to describe it. It was just weird. I was just sleepwalking through the rest of the day.
Can you tell us? Can you tell us about that conversation? Or kind of like that like 10 minutes that led up to it, and like the conversation you had, what was said. I mean, obviously, whatever detail you can go into, but kind of like for the German viewers to understand, like how that's because in soccer that doesn't work at all. Like, you don't get a call in and you're gone, and you're just sold for either a player or cash. Like, it works completely different. So that whole trade concept of U.S. sports is like very new to a lot of people.
Gotcha. So it's like the transfer market or whatever is different?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's different. Completely different.
So yeah, for me, I was actually in AAA at the time, so they optioned me down, just because there wasn't room at the time. Someone else just come off the IL, the injured list, and so I got a call from our GM Brandon Gomes, who Slovak. It's really brief. It wasn't like he doesn't go on and on. It's just like, hey man. I mean, to be fair, they were all of the front office and everyone I talked to was great. They were really nice about it, and they're like, "This is a really hard one to make. This is a really hard trade to make. We're sorry to see you go, but unfortunately, there's just no space for you." And it was that. It was probably like not even 30 seconds. It was just say, "Hey, what's going on? Traded the Blue Jays. Boom, 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 go."
Wow,
crazy.
Yeah.
And then
so
next step, like what's after that?
Oh, and then it's like the logistics. It's like talk to Scott, who's it's called the traveling secretary. He essentially handles all the logistical stuff. So with the team on the road or flights or whatever, when you need to get to and from places, talk to him, and then the Blue Jays guys are going to call you. And the Blue Jays reached out, like the head coach reached out, and the pitching coach, and their traveling secretary to coordinate how I was going to get to Minnesota, where they were at the time. But yeah, man, it just happens super quick.
Have you seen the movie Moneyball?
Mm-hmm.
There's like literally what you just explained is like the piece of paper. This is a number. They're going to call you.
Yep.
And thanks for everything.
Yeah.
Basically. Like, it's
Wow.
crazy. I'm gonna say something in German real quick. Es ist verrückt, dass das Leben und die Karriere eigentlich nur für die Zeit wichtig für den Verein ist, in der du da bist. Sobald du nicht mehr da bist, sobald die Entscheidung getroffen ist, bist du nutzlos für die Organisation. Und ich meine, es ist bei jedem Sport, bei jedem Profisport so. Aber es ist verrückt. Nur da muss man sich mal Gedanken drüber machen.
Ja.
It's just like that movie.
How's it then? Like, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Like,
with the so you have to move to Toronto. You have to do you pack all your stuff, or you just put your sporting clothes, few private stuff, you fly there, and the rest will come by an how you say moving company?
Yeah, so I'm kind of used to living very light. Like I don't have much. I can show you my room. I have one big old suitcase and a backpack, and that's it. That's all my clothes, like street clothes, and then all my baseball. My baseball bag is bigger, but they take care of that. Okay. So now that I'm in Toronto, I just live in Airbnbs every homestand. So say we're home for 10 days. I have a 10-day stretch in this Airbnb, and Toronto is the coolest city. I don't know if you guys have been there. It is so fun. It's really like it's easy to walk around. There's a bunch of cool neighborhoods, really good food. So it's been great. And then there's these little pockets, these little neighborhoods, and I'm just gonna jump in an Airbnb in each little neighborhood and kind of explore like that.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's great.
Is it also like you would say is it cheaper than renting on a house or apartment?
Yeah, it's hard because it's such a short time. So like obviously if I were to get a 1-year lease and all that, it would be probably cheaper, but I only have a month and a half left in the season, if that. So yeah, it makes it cheaper. Plus, I mean, I only pay for obviously on the road, we're in hotels elsewhere, so you pay for half. It's not the cheapest way to do it, but it's definitely the funnest.
So your home base is
that concept's kind of crazy,
yeah, it is. It's a weird situation, but it's cool. Sorry, my home base is where?
Yeah, so your home base, like where do you spend your off season when you're not on the road, stuff like that? Is in Santa Clara or?
Yeah, basically it's San Francisco in the city now. Okay. So I have a lot of friends from college and high school and pro ball. So everyone's kind of still around there. We'll see how much longer I'm in and end up there, but I might move to San Diego. I think that would be the next step.
That's also very, very different to like European soccer. Because if you're, I mean, Julian can maybe like say something about that. You're with the team the whole year, and you're in the same town. Like that's your hometown.
For good. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I mean, how much off season do you get?
This year was very long. Very long means 5.5 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, and in those 5.5 weeks, you're still like you're not doing nothing.
You're still training.
Yeah, you need to train. Like my off season was the first 2 weeks drinking and eating and partying, and then switching to prepare for the new season, for the preseason. So it's like more training in the off season than not training and switching the head off, stuff like that. And if you, for example, the players who play for their national teams, they just have 2 weeks off.
Oh my gosh.
That's completely different. So yeah.
How often do you play a match?
Depending, like once a week.
Once a week. Okay.
But if you're very good, like the top clubs, we have also we have our league, and then we have the international competitions. So that's mostly Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So, for example, last season we played international also. So we had sometimes, like every 2 weeks, we had 2 games per week. Okay. So for me, that's a lot to be on the road. For me, it was like it was too much.
Yeah,
to travel every second week.
Which is crazy because it's like we play every single day.
Yeah.
That's what I don't think a lot of people realize is that's the hardest part. Is it's literally every single day you get one off day here and there. And this year because of the COVID, or no, not because of COVID, because of the CBA stuff. I don't know if we want to get into the CBA stuff, but essentially the season was shortened, and so it's in a smaller window, so there's even fewer off days. Just different.
And you travel so much. Like when I every time we have a game somewhere else, so it's every 2 weeks we have to go with the plane, maximum 1 hour, and I'm like, what the fuck?
This
and
is
then
for one day.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And then I think about the baseball players, and you guys have to travel like twice a week to, I don't know, from the West Coast to the East Coast, 5 hours flight.
Yeah.
Or in the minors with the bus.
Yeah. The minor leagues is the travel there is brutal.
We don't have to talk about that.
It's a dark time. But it's like you're in the big leagues and you have a charter plane, there's a poker table, there's all kinds of food, and people still are complaining no matter what. So it's like you can never win with this kind of stuff.
On that note, I got a little bit. Last year we played together. I mean, on and off, strictly because you were up and down so much. And how many times did you go up and down from the big leagues last year?
11. Well, 11 options, and that means 22 times up and down.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So in Germany, even when I grew up playing, like I always thought that if you're in the big leagues, you're in the big leagues.
Yeah.
I didn't know how crazy it was until I was in like high A, maybe even double A. When I heard like, oh, in triple A, it's basically like, oh, you're up for 3 games, then you come down and you're down for 4 games. And I remember there was at least 2 or 3 situations last year where you and me would like sit in your hotel room, and I don't know if you remember, like ordering food with Bobby, and then all of a sudden you got a message and you're like, all right, I got to leave tomorrow morning, and boom, you're gone. And then 3 days later you're back, and then you're scheduled to throw in 2 days, but then I got to go back. I haven't even unpacked my bags. And there's moments where you literally didn't unpack not even open your backpack, basically. Got off the plane, watched the game, got on the plane.
And then
can you like just really quickly, like really briefly say what that does to you mentally?
Yeah. And I do want to, like, that's not normal even for the Dodgers. The Dodgers love playing this up and down game to maximize what they can get out of every player. And I'd say for me, initially, it was tough for sure. I mean, it was just weird because, like you said, I'd be scheduled to pitch the next day in Oklahoma City, and then I'd get a call that night or that morning even, and they say, hey, you're going to pitch in LA in 2 days, that kind of thing. I basically never knew when I was going to throw, which was bizarre. As a starter, you're used to being on a 5-day schedule. So that was the hard part. It's like I know what I'm doing on day 1. I know what I'm doing on day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. I have all of it planned out. But with that, it was like, all right, it might be 3 days. It might be 7 days. It might be 2 weeks. You never know when you're going to pitch. But it's just like anything else. Like once you do it, you get used to it. And I think for the most part, it benefited me in terms of learning how to pitch and how to deal with all that uncertainty. But it was hard, but you get used to it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's always like, for me at least, when I was watching you and especially Uceta, Edwin Uceta do that, I was like you were a guy who was always kind of calmly about it, and you knew that was your role, and you went up and down, and you like never complained about it. And I've seen a lot of people who are different, who are just like complaining, and then you have to see the guys in the big leagues. They think like, oh, the guy who's going up and down, like it's so annoying. But the guys in AAA who never, like I'm the guy who never made it to the big leagues. I'm like, I wish I was that guy.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's always, you want to be that guy until you are that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't want to be that guy.
And then you want to go to the next level, and then the next level, and the next level. That's the way I see it. Exactly. And it's like, if I'm going to complain about getting this opportunity to play when I could be stuck in Oklahoma City or Tulsa or wherever, and not even be getting that time of day, or I could be even lower, Like you can always make these upward or downward comparisons. And I think, especially in sports, you can always compare yourself to someone else with the stats and the numbers available. But it's
especially in baseball.
Yeah.
In baseball, which is such a statistic sport.
Yep, exactly. And you can get down to the nitty-gritty numbers and say, this guy's this much better than me, but this guy's this much worse than me. If you start looking at that comparison, then you're lost, because it's just such a hard game and all these ups and downs like that. It's just not worth it. And then you add on the mental side of, the up down, literally up down, getting optioned and not getting optioned and not. So I always thought that was just not beneficial, and it's a waste of time.
So are you happy? I mean, obviously now it's like almost too late for you, but were you happy that they changed the rule? They changed the rule that you can only get optioned a certain amount of times.
Yeah, I was.
Do you wish that would last year?
I mean, yeah, but I don't think I was a major reason that rule was changed.
Yeah.
Me and Lewis Head actually had me beat. I don't know if you remember him.
Yes, I do.
He had 12 options. So
that's crazy. That's Matze probably has a few questions too. Some stuff. He's been super silent.
No, it's all right. So I let you guys talk. It's interesting. I'm listening, but I do actually have a question. How does a typical game day look for you? Like, let's say you get your start. Your game is at 7 p.m. Primetime game. How is your day scheduled? That starting day.
So it depends if I'm at home or on the road.
Let's say you're at home. You have a home game.
Home. So generally, I try to get a good night's sleep, wake up whenever, say 10. I always like to go to breakfast on my own, and just, especially if I'm in a new city, I'll explore, find some new place, which means I get to the field usually I try to get there 4 hours before, which is late. I mean, compared to what I normally get to the field at. So say that's 3 o'clock for a 7 o'clock. I'll get in, I'll throw in a dip and do a crossword. That's kind of like that's generally every day, actually. But you sit around for, let's see, I never really thought about this that well. You sit around for like an hour and a half, and then I'll start looking. Well, no, during that hour and a half, I'll start looking at the hitters once we get the lineup card, kind of break them down on video. And I say, all right, this guy, we want to go fastball away, sliders off that, maybe mix in a two-seamer in. It's like a lefty, it's like fastballs up and in, mix in a curveball early, change up to finish, back foot slider to finish, that kind of thing. And I just write that down.
When I can ask a small question. So is it that detailed stuff, like you say, at this hitter, you want to finish with that pitch, or like in that details that you know before?
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
okay.
Wow.
I mean, we're talking about statistics and numbers. It's like, if you could see the stuff we have access to, the data, literally like in 1-1 counts against curveballs below the zone, he swings and misses 37% of the time. Like, you could get that insanely detailed. Not that I do.
Wow.
I think some of that's a waste of time. But yeah. That's available.
But some people actually do that, get those statistics together.
Yep. I mean, it's automatically generated for the most part, but yeah, they have access to all this stuff. It's crazy.
Do you speak about the Blue Jays have their own?
Oh yeah.
What's that?
Do you speak about that with
the Blue Jays have their own. You guys have your own system, right? Like we had True Media, and you guys have like your own Blue Jay system that like has all the statistics for every player from the last 15 years, where you can look at every like runner at third base, lefty up with bird flying across the infield, like what pitch did the guy throw?
It's crazy. Yeah. So sometimes it's too much information, and you have to figure out how to pull it back. But yeah, if it's something you want to look up, you can find it, which is crazy.
Okay.
Who do you speak about that? Like, you speak with the catcher and your pitching coach, or who's involved in that kind of game plan?
Yeah, so it's like initially, like I said, I'll be doing that scouting on the computer on my own, and then I'll get with the pitching coach and the catcher. And usually the pitching coach kind of runs the meeting, but then the catcher's there and we kind of talk things out. I'll put in my input a little bit, like say he doesn't mention something and I'm like, oh, I like fastballs up and into this guy. Let's mix that in. Let's blow him up in a little bit. That kind of thing. And it's just kind of it's just a conversation. It's like 10 minutes. It's not like we're going crazy, but we all have an idea of what we want to do and then talk about it.
Okay, and what's that on the arm that you always see at the catcher?
Yeah.
Which notice he has?
Oh, that's a good question.
No, just in general, like a small game plan or really details for every hitter.
So that's it's a basic game plan, but it's got everything you need. I don't actually know exactly what it is for us on the Blue Jays. But in LA, it was like it gave you little boxes. So if this is the strike zone, it's like up here is green, and then over here is red, and then over here is green or whatever for every single pitch. So it's like sliders down and away, that's green. So that's good. Sliders everywhere else, that's red because they hit that. And we have something similar with the Jays as well. I haven't actually looked, but I don't really need to know. Yeah. And it's called pitch recs. So it's like what they recommend to throw first pitch. So we break it down into first pitch, basically throw the ball in the zone, down the middle, doesn't matter. Just get ahead. And then it's attack, which is like everywhere in between, like where you want to be in the zone, kind of the general location. And then it's finish, where it's like we're talking about, like back foot slider to a lefty or fastballs up and away to a lefty, swing and miss, that kind of stuff. And it gives you like 3 pitches and locations that are probably the best based on their projections.
So growing up in Germany, I get this, or I'm playing professional baseball in the States and going home every offseason. The thing that everybody who doesn't know baseball thinks is that the catcher just throws down numbers with his fingers because he feels like a 4 is the right thing to put down. So just for everybody to understand, like all that detail of going into like doing the research, understanding every hitter, understanding every situation, because it's different if there's nobody on base or if the game's on the line with the runner in scoring position, right? Like you pitch different. That like the numbers that the catchers put down are so in detail and so thought through, days ahead and weeks ahead and serious is ahead, just for like the German viewers to understand that like there's more thought than just like, oh, I want a slider in this moment. Like there's a purpose behind every pitch.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Every time, or like is it every time, or do you have also like in a 3-2 count or in an at bat where you have 10 or more pitches when you like run out of option or run out of your game plan, when you threw everything you had? Is it then like you look at the catcher and okay, fuck, now we have to Markus, was heißt improvisieren?
Improvise.
When you have to improvise. Thank you.
Yeah.
When you have to improvise, are there a lot of situations? I think obviously there are situations, but is it a lot of times or just a few times?
I think it's the long at bats where that happens the most, where it's like, all right, I've thrown in fastball, slider, curveball. That's like my order of pitches, I'd say. I'll probably slider first in terms of like best pitch to worst pitch. So if I've thrown my slider and my fastball and then mix in a couple of curveballs and stuff, it's like, all right, screw it, I'm going to throw a change up here. And sometimes you just got to do that and you just throw it and see what happens.
Okay.
But in general, it depends. Like a 3-2 count, not necessarily, because it's like depends on the sequencing as well. So it's like, say I throw fastball away to a righty, and then I throw another one fastball away. I try to throw it just off that, and he takes it. Then I'm trying to throw that slider just inside that because the slider moves from right to left, down and away to a righty. So it's like if I throw it just inside that last fastball, the idea is he sees that line and he sees the fastball, or he sees a fastball coming over the plate, but then at the last minute, the slider breaks off. If that makes sense?
Like
Yeah.
tunneling and sequencing.
Tunneling is an aspect of it. Yeah, that's what that's called. So say I've been doing that a ton in a 3-2 count, and I feel good with my slider, then it's like, all right, I'm going to throw my slider off that plane or off that line and let him swing and miss over the top of it. Or it's like 3-2 count, we challenge him with a heater. And I'm just throwing a heater and letting him do what he's going to do. Now, if it's a 3-2 count the at-bat's gone 12 pitches, then yeah, we're going to throw a changeup or we're going to throw something weird.
Heater is fastball für alle. Zum Verstehen. Heater,
yeah, sorry. We're going to throw a heater. Same thing.
Yeah, you can talk just sometimes. We have a lot of new people coming to the sport. That's kind of cool. Like a lot of I don't want to say 50%, but really a lot of German people started watching baseball because we started that thing, and so they always ask us like, please explain everything. Like when we talk about ERA and stuff like that, difficult. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome. Everyone's learning, which is cool.
Yeah,
the stuff you're talking about is like advanced. Like the tunneling and sequencing.
Yeah, I know.
Like No, but that's perfect because we want like the listeners. There's professional players in Germany, right? Like so for them, this might be valuable information. For another person, like just you talking about like how the life of a baseball player looks is valuable. So
yeah,
I love that. Yeah.
How easy is it to watch baseball games in Germany? Is it all just like streams?
If you have the league pass, you can watch everything you want. So it's like the NFL Game Pass.
Yeah,
exactly the same.
Gotcha.
We have one TV broadcaster who shows like one game per week. That's
every Wednesday.
Yeah, kind of weak, I would say, but.
Yeah.
And the free YouTube games of the day of the week, but we always recommend when they ask us how can we watch, say buy the pass and
you can see whatever you want.
On the other side, if you want to watch football in Germany, they show football everywhere.
Crazy, football is so big.
Football has developed such a big sport here in Germany. It's crazy.
That's
People
awesome.
are literally starting playing fantasy football, freaking out about football. They're showing games on free TV every Sunday during the season here in Germany, and people actually watch that.
Yeah.
They get interested. It's crazy. So
like millions of viewers,
millions of viewers.
Wow, that's what I'm saying. I don't know why baseball doesn't do a better job of that. I know they're trying to with all these streams, but they need to like spread the word.
That's why we started that shit, because we want to have that as well. We are small at the moment, but with guys like you,
we got the live game on Wednesdays, which was a huge accomplishment to even get that. Like for the last 10 years, there was not even a single game. Yeah. So obviously, with Max Kepler being like the only German big leaguer right now, they try to get Minnesota Twins games on as much as possible, just because that is probably the best way to sell. But you also have to think about the time difference. If you play at 7 p.m., then that's depending on where you are in Germany or in the States, that's like anywhere from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m.
Yeah. So you can't watch live.
Yeah. We can watch your noon games.
All the day games,
All the day games we can watch with no problems, but your primetime games, you need to get up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, there's no way.
Like when I woke up this morning, I was able to watch like 3 innings of the Dodgers. Because it was 6 a.m. here in France. So that's like the West Coast games, the
they're
prime
9 hours behind us. Watch at least the end of the games if you get up early enough.
And that's the best part. So I guess you get that. Well, okay, I'm curious then. What the biggest fan base in Germany? Is it for the Twins, just because of Kep? or
I would
question.
say it
Wow.
so Max and I did a like a master class last season end of last year where we went and did like camps in Berlin and camps in Munich, and everybody you saw knew the twins. Had a twins hat on, like anywhere. Obviously,
Yeah.
they try to publish that a little bit more, but think about like the reason people knew baseball back in the day was often the Cleveland Indians, the movie Major League, which in German is called the Cleveland Indians or Indians of Cleveland.
Is it really?
People know the LA hat because it's a cool hat. So
The
people
Dodgers, yeah.
Same with the Yankees hat. Same with the Yankees hat.
Yes. Like Jay-Z
Yankees,
made the Yankee
Dodgers.
hat more famous than the Yankee
Yep.
can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I
it's,
would
like-
the community we have is a lot of Mets fans as well, Mets and Red Sox. When I interact with the people on social media, a lot of that as well. So depending, like
It's good mix.
Dodgers,
But
but also
talking
like
about the Mets. Oh yeah.
was not.
Talking about
Not
the
important.
Mets, how was it having Scherzer on the team last year, who's now with the Mets, obviously? Like, did you get the chance to like talk to him, pick his brain, or is it more of like if you're a rookie in the big leagues, you try to stay away from the veterans, or do you like did Kershaw help you with anything like that kind of, Kershaw, Scherzer, those guys?
I think in talking to those guys, everyone always talks about how much baseball's changed, in terms of all the analytics and stuff, but also in the clubhouse, things have changed. It used to be maybe not even 10 years ago where rookie would come up. It's like you sit in your corner and you don't talk to anyone. You just stay out of the way. You can't sit on the couches. You don't touch the TVs. You have to bring beers for everyone on the bus. You have to make sure everyone's good. You have to do like certain hazing things. They would send you out and go get coffee and like stupid like Powerpuff Girls costumes or whatever. And now pretty much all that's gone, which is good and bad. I mean, it's good for me. I didn't have to deal with any of that. But nowadays it is easier to communicate with all those veteran guys because a lot of those guys like Scherzer and Kersh, they're actually very different people, I'd say, but they're obviously both like best pitchers ever type people. And they both really like, helping the next generation along. So in talking to, I spent obviously more time around Kersh, but with Scherzer, as soon as he came in, it was like, this guy is a psycho, but also he's the real deal. Like he is that intense persona that he has on the mound 24/7. It doesn't stop. He's always talking shit. He's always in your face. He's always like aggressive. And he was awesome. He was awesome to be around. So like we'd sit on the bench and just kind of talk about certain things that were going on in the game, or he'd be talking about contract stuff. That was like this when the CBA stuff was going on, but sorry, we don't need too much information. Just picking his brain. Yeah, that was awesome. And it was cool to learn like his story in terms of getting to where he is now. Especially for me, someone who's like trying to establish themselves. It's like, how did some of these greats do it? Like he was in the bullpen for a little bit, so was I. And he kind of had to earn his place as a starter. And then once he did, he struggled and then he figured it out. And it's kind of that whole process. And then Kersh is also like that, but he's very goofy on the bench and like hanging out, having fun. And he sees the game, I think, in a different way than anyone. It's just like he picks up on these little things and he's like, look at that, look what just happened. I'm like, what are you talking about? I have no idea. But like he's been around the game for so long and he knows every little thing, every little in-between thing. But at the same time, he's very like down to earth and humble, and he's a great human being. And then he flips a switch on game day where it's like when he's pitching on his day, he really doesn't talk to anyone. He doesn't say anything. He just kind of is locked in. And And so I think those are two interesting people because they're both very different, but they also are both incredibly dominant and good.
What could you?
Oh yeah.
What would you say you could adapt few things to your game or to your routines, to your pitching style, whatever, from those guys, from those veterans?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of little things, but I mean, something, for example, that Kershaw always brought up is like I struggle throwing my changeup. So he was like, "Hey, do you ever think about throwing backdoor sliders to lefties?" I was like, "All right, let me try that," and then spin it, and it's like, "Oh, okay, I like this." And that was like a pitch selection type thing that helped in terms of giving lefties another look, another change of speeds. As a pitcher, like changing speeds is huge. I think something that's kind of forgotten about in this era to a degree. So that was a big one. With Scherzer, it was like the way he game plans. Like we talked about the scouting reports and stuff. He's got the sheet and it breaks down every hitter and he just keys in on certain things that he thinks are really important. And I've kind of cribbed some of that and taken a few cues from that, like swing and miss rate. ISO is a way to measure damage, essentially, like extra base hits.
Isolierte Power, da wird ausgerechnet, wie feste der Ball geschlagen wird, wie weit der Ball geschlagen wird und es nimmt die Defensive außer Gefecht. Also wenn jetzt der Platz leer wäre ohne Defensive, wie viele Doubles würdest du hauen und wie viele Singles würdest du hauen und wie viele Home Runs? Also es isoliert im Endeffekt nur die Statistik der Kraft, die du aufbaust. All right,
Okay.
Sorry. Just a quick
No,
translation for myself.
Yeah. And yeah, like so ISO, that's a big stat. And yeah, I'd say those are like two little things I definitely took from those guys that have helped.
Did it make you better? Did it make you better?
Being around them?
Being around them and adopt those things. Do you
Yeah.
feel that it made you better? Do you feel it in now or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
I mean, it's crazy. This wasn't necessarily because of those two guys, but I have like the notes app on your iPhone. I've just over the past few years, I've been trying to think about those kind of small little details that have kind of turned me into the pitcher I am. And I have a list of them ever since I was drafted, just like random things. It's like so-and-so told me this. And I was like, wow, I really like that. So-and-so told me this. And it's like stuff I still use to this day, whether it's like a pitch grip, like how to throw a slider or a certain slider, how to throw a curveball, whatever. And I just try to keep track of all the people that have kind of put a fingerprint on my career. And it's a big list. It's crazy.
Hey, am I on that list?
Actually, you could be. I don't know if I added this, but remember when we were talking about the two seam? Oh, shit. With the thumb on the side versus on the bottom?
Yes. I love that. I love that you said that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to get like ride run type two seam. So moving it up and to the right, as opposed to like I don't want a sinker necessarily.
Yeah.
But
that's we just for the other two, Mitch and I had it was in Albuquerque, I think. I think we were
I don't remember. It was definitely in either there or Oklahoma City. It was whatever.
One of the and we were talking about like how to move the ball into the same type of grip into two different directions. One's like, or three if you want. Like one goes up and away, one stays on the same plane, and one drops down. And we were talking about like finger positioning and stuff. And thanks for saying that. I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Of course.
But would you give that as like a tip to all kids that are starting to play, especially now with like they have their phones on them at all times, to like take notes and also like appreciate the people who have helped you more and like remembering who told you what rather than just what they said?
Yeah, and I think that's just not necessarily just a sports thing. That's just being a human being thing, like gratitude and remembering the people who've helped you, I think is super important. I think it's really easy now with like Instagram and all that stuff to see all these people that are posting stuff and acting like they know exactly what they're talking about, and you can get caught up in that. So that's kind of dangerous. Like you got to know who's talking. But I mean, I'll get stuck on Instagram and I'll see some guy who's got some weird little tip about a slider, and I'm like, oh, I kind of like that. I'd say 99% of that stuff I see is like, it's garbage. That's not true. 99 is a high percentage. Let's say, 50% of it is pure garbage, but you can find some good stuff.
Nice.
We have
Cool.
some like community questions too.
Really? Okay.
Wolltest du das auch gerade sagen, Julian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say the same thing.
Yeah,
What?
we got it's kind of more like a rapid fire. It's just like if that's okay with the other two,
Yeah.
then I'll just like read the question and then you just kind of give your like one word or one sentence answer.
Cool.
All right, first one is like, what's your favorite pitch?
Slider.
What's your favorite team you've ever played against? Or a team that like still makes you nervous?
Oh, I don't think there's a team that makes me nervous. The favorite team to pitch against is the Giants, though, because that's my hometown team.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Makes sense.
We talked about your ritual before the game. What's like the coolest strikeout you've had in your big league career?
Probably my first one was Shin-Soo Choo, he's Korean and I'm half Korean as well, so that was not lost on the Korean audience.
Nice.
Oh.
I saw that today. It was against the Rangers, right?
Yep. And I really needed that strikeout.
Yeah, they said I watched Inside Dodgers today, your episode.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, to get in your stuff in life again. So I was watching that strikeout.
Yeah, there's all
an
kinds
hour
of
ago.
weird videos from inside the Dodgers.
So coming out of that strikeout, which hitter would you like to strike out? Like, what's like your past or present, or past and present?
Oh man. Past, I guess Barry Bonds, because I grew up loving him as a Giants fan, and I think that'd be cool. Present, man, I don't know. I don't really care. Strikeout's a strikeout at this point. I'll take whatever I can get.
Decent answer.
All right. Mm-hmm. That's all the like community questions. I have a question that's kind of on my mind. So you came from being with the Dodgers, who had Kershaw, who had like guys like Justin Turner, now Trey Turner, then Scherzer. How is it like being with younger stars like Bo Bichette and Vlad Jr. and Kirk? Like how because you're younger too, and is like the environment completely different from the Blue Jays to the Dodgers?
Definitely, yeah. It's like it's a different vibe. I mean, that's going to happen with 25 different people, no matter what. But it's definitely, I mean, it's hard to describe exactly. It's like the Dodgers are just very pro. They do their thing. There's not a lot of guidance or anything. Like everyone just does the same thing every day over and over and over and over, and they're really good. The Blue Jays, we are also really good, and it's just kind of like a little more loose, a little more, like everyone's having fun and hanging out, and like it's not that any one way is bad or good or anything, and I don't want to make it sound like that at all. It's just different. And like talking to Bo, talking to Vladdy, talking to Kirky, it's like these guys are legit because they're super talented, but they're also like they have a good head on their shoulders. Like they know what they're doing, and they've risen to stardom super fast. And maybe I'm seeing it a little after the fact, obviously, but they're very well put together in terms of the mental side, if that makes sense.
Yes, for their age especially, right?
Yeah, especially for their age. Like they're ballers. They're legit.
So do you think you can learn something even though like you guys are the same age, or like do you think they can learn something from you coming from the Dodgers, different organization?
Yeah, I mean it's never like a age thing necessarily. It's just whatever. I mean, there's certain guys that just kind of you talk to and things click, I think.
Yeah, like a community clubhouse thing, more like that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, obviously someone like who's been around the game for 14, 15 years, like they've heard a lot more things and they've seen a lot more things. So they may have more to share, but anyone can do that, I think.
What would be interesting for me, especially compared to soccer, is how is the life with the team, especially in things like meeting outside the clubhouse, going out together for dinner, hanging around together. How is that? How is that going? Is that a lot? So is it? You can tell from the Dodgers or AAA, AA, and Blue Jays. Is it quite the same? Is it clubhouse different? How would you say is the life together outside the ballpark?
It's interesting because, I mean, in the minor leagues, everyone's around each other a lot more. Like people are living together. They're going out to drinks together. They're going to the bars and whatever together. Part of that is guys have less money, so they need to share, like they have roommates. You're in smaller towns, so you're closer. Not as many guys have like girlfriends or wives or have kids even. So it's just, you have more time. In the major leagues, it's a little different, like I said. So I'd say with the Dodgers on the road, we do team dinners, which were awesome. It was like a couple of the big dogs would pay, and it'd be like 10, 15, 20 guys at these crazy nice restaurants. And it's like seafood tower, steak sampler,
Wow.
like all the desserts. And yeah, these dinners get, like 10, 15, $20,000 dinners. And like I said, though, that team is older, has more like families and stuff. And so guys could only really go out on the road. At home, everyone was with their family at home. Plus, LA is super spread out. It's hard to go from one place to another. But everyone obviously was very close on that team. A lot of guys have been together for a while. So that was fun. And then here with the Blue Jays, it's like whenever you get in, it's similar. It's like whenever you get into a new city, guys will go out to dinner, they'll go to the casino, they'll go out to the bars, whatever. But then at home, guys are living in like basically mostly guys are living in a 2-mile radius from the stadium. And everyone walks. Like not many guys have cars even. So everyone's really close. And even at home, you can go out at least to get drinks or whatever. But the other problem is the schedule in baseball. Like I said, it's every single day. So you're around these guys a lot as it is. And two, most games say start at 7. You're not out of the clubhouse till 10:30, like most likely 10:30, 11. So if you want to go out, you have to be ready to go out and like go, which, it happens, but it's not like an every night kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, because in soccer it's so different. Like as you said, that was interesting. In the minor leagues, I had the same thing when we don't have like a minor league system in soccer. We have like the youth teams from the same club and the second team. So also earn not a lot of money. So hanging around way more. But when you get to professional level, it switched immediately so bad, like doing nothing. We are not that much around like you guys are. Okay, we have training, like we are around for 3 hours, but then
that's it.
Yeah, no team dinner. Okay, like 3 times per year team dinner, and not everyone is present. So that's the thing that I don't like in soccer, that you have not a clubhouse feeling, not the feeling that you're really like friends, like a second family, you know what I mean? And that's really different. That's what I miss here a lot in Europe, that you don't have that kind of interaction with the guys.
I mean, that's what everyone says they miss is the clubhouse. Like nobody really ever misses the wins and the losses and the stats. It's like being around the guys in college is the best. But it's like, how long are you at the field on a regular training day for?
Depending the day. I would say average time 1 hour 10, 1 hour 20.
Really? So you essentially work for an hour and a half, let's say, and then you're free.
If you break it down on the time on the pitch, yeah. I give you an example. When we start training at 10, it means we have to be on the pitch at 10. We have to be in the locker room 1.5 hours before. We can take breakfast at the club.
Mm-hmm.
And then also it depends on what guy you are. Do you need something in the gym? Like me, I need a lot of time in the gym because my body is messed up. Because I need to warm up, stretch everything. Sometimes they don't need to do it, but yeah. So my day starts earlier than others. So I'd say at 9 in the gym, then you go out at 10 training, and after the training also like rolling out, stretching, or doing some gym stuff. But the work part is 1 hour 20 on the pitch, and then have a good day.
I'd include all that as work. I mean, because I was just thinking from our point of view, it's like you get to the field at 1, leave at 11. So it's like 10 hours at the field every day. So it's a lot of time in between to fill.
But the thing is, though, in baseball, if you don't, like, let's say you're not pitching and you don't have a bullpen and you don't have to lift like the day before start, for me at least, like it was always my active work was maybe an hour, that stretch, play, catch, and run, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the day is have coffee, prepare, like watch the game, understand, like watching the hitters live. And I mean, for you, it's probably not any different, right?
No, yeah, it's exactly that. I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to say is like 10 hours at the field, maybe 2 hours is working. So it's like it's the same as you. You're on the pitch for an hour and 20, but you're just in and out of the field, which is I'm jealous, but
yeah,
it's funny. I'm jealous of you, and you're jealous of me with the clubhouse.
I'm so jealous. Like I would change immediately because but it's like how you spend your time there. If you love to go there, it's great. I would spend there 10 hours, but
it's great. Yeah.
But if I honestly, I think the last 3 years, I would not say I hate it, but I ask myself a lot of times why you do that fucking shit every day again. Because you started it because it was your passion, but do you have the feeling that in your sport, because a lot of players have that feeling in soccer that the passion is gone, and do you have that in baseball that you feel like
there's tons of guys like that. I mean, for me personally, there's definitely like a love-hate, like it comes and goes, and for the most part, I love it, but there's days where I hate it. And I think that's everyone.
Yeah, that's normal, but like and that needs to be like that, but that same kind of level where it's just boring, that's what I mean. Like when it feels like a real job. Like I worked in a bank for 2 years. When it feels like that, it's not a cool thing.
Yeah. Scary.
That's scary. So that was my thing. Like it's different, I would say.
Well, it's also I think in soccer you have 15 hours a day to think about how miserable you are. In baseball, you only have 1 hour a day because the other time you're like around the guys.
Yeah, you're doing something with someone always.
Yeah, and I think with some cool guys you like, and when you're there, like I'm going home and I'm thinking about a bad training session, and even if you don't play, like you always play. You have way more play time. Like me, I'm the second goalkeeper right now, so I never play. So that's kind of I never have that high feeling. Like when you're on the mound, you have a lot of adrenaline and stuff like that. The most adrenaline I have is when I'm playing MLB The Show. It's sad, but it's like that.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
So that's different in baseball, I think, because you always, if you were not playing in the big leagues, you played in AAA or or AA, and if you are in the big leagues, mostly you played. Like sometimes maybe not when you just get the call up and a few days later you have to go down, but then you will play. You have your game day. But here it's like my first year was 6 months, nothing.
You just sit on the bench. That's crazy.
Yeah, you sit on the bench and you hope something happens. And if not,
you never know.
Yeah, but that's really the difference between those things.
For sure.
I think. So
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Mitch, I know you have to go to the field soon.
Yeah.
Don't want to keep you.
I mean,
too long.
yeah. What time is it? It's like 1. I got time if you guys have anything else, but otherwise, yeah. I mean, it's been fun.
I need to check my.
Yeah.
Ja, wenn du noch was hast, sag ruhig. Ich check.
I got just like who are you still in contact with the Dodgers? Who are like your like boys?
I mean, all the guys I came up with, obviously, like the Will Smiths, the Gavins, the Tonys, Dustin, all those guys. We still have we have a gaming group chat from that team where it's like David Price, Tommy Conley, Chico, the clubby, all those guys. We still, I mean, I'm in the group chat, but I never even play with them, which is sad, but eventually I will.
No, but there's still like it's there's still a connection. Like those are still your friends, right? Like that's
for sure, yeah. But like the way it works in baseball, I feel like is you're never missed. That sounds bad, but it's like as soon as you're gone, you're just kind of gone, and people move on. Weird.
Yeah.
It's like you could be best friends, and someone will leave for one reason or another, like a trade, or they get sent up or called down. But it's just like there's no time to even think about that because you're always on to the next thing. And then there's always someone else to fill that spot. It's kind of it's like a machine.
That's
but yeah,
so
I still love you guys.
I had that a lot. Like I used to try to make really, really close friends. And it kind of bit me in the ass because like I was so focused on being a good person and being like a friend that when they got called up, I was still sitting in rookie ball, like waiting around. And then like it's tough because you're still competing against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's tough to make friends in professional baseball. Now I think that it's more about like making connections, about like stuff like this. Like you know, like you're here chatting, you're helping us, like we're helping you. Like you create relationships rather than like best friends, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like at the end of the season, how many of those guys am I really going to see? Probably maybe 1 or 2. But it's sad, but that's just kind of part of it. And you just make these great friends and then you leave them. And then you happen to see them again down the road. And it's like nothing changed, which is the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah,
that's just part of it. Yeah.
That's the same in soccer as well.
Right?
That's
yeah.
Cool. And like in every sport. That's kind of crazy. Doesn't matter, like have the same. I don't know. From my old club, one guy I'm talking close. Like yeah, and close means like we talk once a month.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're not like you're hanging out all the time or anything. I bet. I mean, in soccer it's probably different too because guys are all over too. Like, right? It's not just. Well, I guess if you're all. So you're in Lyon, right?
Yeah.
So I guess you're there year round now. So I guess you don't really have the off season thing. Dang it.
Yeah, but you don't. As I said, we don't do a lot of stuff together, and especially I had the language barrier because I didn't speak French, so it was hard at the beginning. But now I have a German teammate, so that's cool. We are really close, but the rest is not. It was this off season was the first time I was on vacation with a teammate. In my
that's it.
Yeah, that was the first time. So the rest is like.
Does everyone on the team speak French? Is that like the main?
Yeah, everybody, and mostly the French people, they hate to speak English. Like I needed to learn it because if you need if you need to fix something in the house, well,
Rude if you can't.
Yeah, my fiance speaks perfectly French, so she helped me out a lot. But in the locker room, there's like, now I can talk to the people because my French is okay. But in the first 6 months, there were 2 people speaking English.
Jeez,
So
that's hard.
I was lost. I was just doing my thing and coming and going and
But that's like,
yeah.
I mean, you remember Tsutsugo last year,
Yeah.
Yoshi. He came to he played in Oklahoma City with us in AAA, and he had a translator, and he did not know a single word of English, like not even hello. Like he knew zero English, and he was in the States for 2 years at that point already. And I got closer with his translator than with him, like because you know, like in soccer there's no like translators, right?
We had one translator in Hamburg for the Brazilian guys, because the Brazilian guys are very lazy in learning different languages. They are like,
who cares?
I don't care. Yeah, and they are never alone in a team.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but you always have like minimum of 2 of them. Minimum
That's
of
the
2.
same in baseball.
Yeah, you have a lot of
Spanish
speakers. And I don't, for example, like, why is that? Is there not in soccer, we have to learn the language. Like, they gave me a teacher for French, and they told me, like, you have to take lessons. But isn't it like that in baseball, that they give you a translator or teacher, and they say, you're in America, you need to interact with the guys in the clubhouse. Please learn the language.
Yeah, but they don't have, like, you can't force them to. And it's like you said, there's just so many Spanish-speaking guys that some guys are really good about it and they'll learn English well. And the higher up you go, the more. But they don't have to if they don't want to, because there's so many other guys that speak Spanish.
But for example, the guys from Japan, like Otani, man, he's the face of the league, and he's giving interviews with his translator. I would go crazy if I would be the owner of the Angels. Like, please, it's better for you as well.
Yeah, I think he actually can speak pretty good English, but I think part of it is like in the interview with the cameras on, it's a little harder, and you don't want to look like an idiot with your English. But I'm sure in the next few years he'll figure that out.
Yeah, because when I had some Japanese teammates, and they spoke perfectly German, like insane, and they learned English also. Like, they were super professional and strict and everything. Like, I was wondering about that when you see some interviews, especially of guys from Japan, that they don't speak English. I was wondering about that.
Didn't Ichiro Suzuki have a translator for 10 years or 12 years, but then he speaks like fluent English?
Yeah, I think he's fluent. I think that was he just didn't want to deal with the interviews. Was part of it.
I think it's also to have somebody
Spanish
from home.
What was that?
He learned Spanish as well. I read, to talk to the Latin guys, that he can make trash talk on the field.
Yep, I've heard that before.
I gotta say though, I would have loved to have somebody with me who was from Germany, just to have a guy who's from Germany with me my whole career. Like, how cool! I should have from day one pretended that I don't speak English. I would have had a translator,
and then you would have gotten somebody, just a buddy
to talk shit to. Yeah,
I mean, that's what it is. It's crazy. Like, we have a Japanese guy, Yusei Kikuchi, and Hunjin Ryu is a Korean guy. They have a little posse, basically. It's like everywhere they go, they got their trainer who also works on them, massage and then lifting and all that, and then they have the translator. So they're never alone. Which, I mean, I think it makes sense. If you're in that spot alone, you can only communicate so much. Like, you need somebody around, like you said.
Yeah, and they got the money to afford that.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. They got a lot of money.
But like for a person itself, like I was thinking at the beginning, yeah, fuck French, but then it's like you have to live with that language. If you go out, you know you need to handle some stuff, so it's essential to speak it. So that's why I think I think it would make life better to speak the foreign language.
Yeah, wherever country you're in, like
Yeah.
it makes sense to actually at least, get some effort into learning.
Yeah, that's. Oh, my cap is bring. Was wollte gerade
Mitch, are
sagen,
you
es
guys?
br-
Yeah. Are you guys playing in Tampa anytime soon?
I think so. Look at our schedule. It's either
Because then
they
if
come
you
to us.
are in, okay. If
and
you're if you guys got a game there, then I'll come by. I'm only 45 minutes from Tampa.
Oh yeah, let me know. September
You guys-
22nd.
Yes. All right, I'll come September 22nd. I need a ticket.
Yeah, you need to get out of Lakeland.
Yep.
you need to give him all access.
Yeah, you
access.
can come on in.
All access.
You can take some videos for the pod. Do you guys have like you guys have like an Instagram or whatever, Twitter? I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
Instagram.
that would actually. I mean, so would that actually be possible?
I could get you on field for BP.
Dude, that would be sick.
I mean, you wouldn't be like on the field, but you'd be like behind the batter.
I would be shagging in center field.
Yeah, you wouldn't be out there shagging, but they usually, I mean, potentially, I don't know if they do it in Tampa, but yeah, they have like little area for fans to come out and just sit and watch.
Dude, that would be amazing. Yeah, if I could take some videos and stuff, that would be sick.
Yeah,
maybe you're
can
pitching
do
that
that.
day.
Yeah, I don't know what the timing in terms of the rotation would be, but yeah, one of those days.
All right, I'm gonna
Do
text you on
some
the
Insta
21st.
live stuff.
Yeah, you could do Insta Live.
Ja.
I'm looking at the schedule again. That's in.
Das ist natürlich echt cool für die Leute, oder?
Überlegt
Ja,
euch das
absolut.
mal. Live aus
Absolut.
dem Stadion.
Yeah, it's like 3
Yeah.
weeks.
Perfect. We'll do
That would
that.
be cool. What is because we were talking about Tampa, what is the nastiest ballpark in the league?
Like nasty as in best or worst?
Worst, like not for you and in general, what you heard of? The worst and the best. Let's say like this.
I'd
For
say
you, personal, where you play, where you love to play, where you hate to play, and what the players say. You know what I mean?
No, totally. I'd say the worst in terms of like the facilities and everything around is actually Fenway, but because it's so old and small, and it's like kind of smelly and whatever. But the stadium itself makes up for it because it's such a cool place to play. It's very historic. The fans are crazy there. For me, my favorite place to play is AT&T Park, which is the Giants, because that's home. So that's kind of cheating. I don't know. I love playing in San Diego. Facilities are great. The weather's great. The city's great. Those are like the three things you consider. It's like, how's the weather? How's the city in terms of going out, having fun? And then how are the facilities, like the gym, the clubhouse feel, the shower pressure, shower water pressure, stuff like that.
Do you care as a pitcher? Do you care as a pitcher about the stadium measurement? Like how far is left field? How far is center field? How far is right field?
Yeah, there is definitely something to be said for that, but I just try not to think about that ever. I just kind of ignore that. But there's definitely places where it's like the ball flies here. So like Coors Field.
Yeah, because it's so up high, right?
Yeah.
The air is so thin and stuff like that, yeah.
And your ball doesn't move as much. So like you're throwing a curveball and it's not going to break as much. So it's not only does the ball go further, but your stuff doesn't move as much. So it's a double whammy. It sucks. But Coors, that being said, Coors is a beautiful ballpark, and it's actually a really cool city. But I think Wrigley would be one of my favorites too, because I love the city. Facilities are nice, and It's just a cool atmosphere. It's a fun place to play.
And the song at the end is the best in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Go Cubs Go is my all-time favorite.
Really?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I may be. I know I can't talk about that because it's.
I don't care.
I can't speak about that because nothing is fixed. No.
No, but they're cool. They're cool.
No. All right. Wrigley is like because it's an old stadium, but the facility inside clubhouse stuff like that is good.
Yeah, they've renovated everything. I think since like 2016 when they won the World Series, they just redid everything and made it really nice.
Oh yeah.
I've heard from the hitter side that what I heard means like I'm insider, no, but it's like I don't know.
You read it in interviews.
Yeah, something like inside. That what is the name of the ballpark, Matze, in Milwaukee? Family Field.
Family
Right?
Field.
Yeah,
Milwaukee.
I heard from.
How's
yeah.
the stadium from the Brewers called? It's
Miller
Family
Park.
Field?
But
Yeah.
maybe it might be American Family Field. Actually, I kind of remember that.
Yeah.
American
I think they
Family
changed the
Insurance.
name.
Yeah.
I've heard, I've read from hitter side that most of the hitters they hate to play there.
Because it's hard to see, I think.
Hard to see and like
I guess.
measurement.
It might be big.
Measurements.
Measurements.
I think it's definitely a pitcher's park, and I've heard it's hard to see, which is a big thing. It's like for whatever reason, it's kind of dark in the backdrop behind the pitcher, but I don't know. I like that because it's also
how's the Rogers Stadium?
It's awesome. I'd honestly say Rogers Stadium is one of my favorite places to play too.
Are you guys full
When
capacity?
the horn rings.
Yeah, full capacity and everything. It gets loud. It's cool. I don't know. When the dome is open, you can see the CN Tower. I don't know if you've seen that, but it looks like it's coming in the stadium.
Oh wow!
It's really cool, and it's just crazy high up there. It's a beautiful city. I love Toronto.
You got lucky. You got traded to the right team.
Yeah.
How long's your contract? Like, what is the that's also very, very different from European professional contracts to baseball, especially. How are not your money, obviously, but your contract? Like, when will it end? When can you be traded again or stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely like the most different part of, I'd say, our sports, I guess. But I'm on a rookie deal for the next 2 years. Well, let me just do from the start. So say I just debuted. You get 3 years of service time where you're getting paid minimum contract. And then at that point, I mean, you could get traded also a million times. It doesn't matter. Once you get to 3 years, you go through what's called arbitration, which is basically they compare you to other players who are similar position, similar stats, and they pay you based on that. So it's all based on comps, like comparisons to other players. You do that once after your 3rd year, once after your 4th year, once after your 5th year, and it keeps going up every time. And then you go to free agency after your 6th year, and then that's when guys are signing those super big deals. They're signing, $400 contracts and stuff by getting to free agency. Now that's if everything goes smoothly. So it's really hard to say. But to back up to me, I've got about 1.5 years of service time. So I'm still not even to that arbitration point, the first arbitration.
Okay, so your pro contract started when?
In 2020.
Okay, when you made your debut.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing is, so that's if everything goes smoothly, what I just laid out. But my career has been a little different because of all those up and downs. So the way it works is service time is only when you're on the active roster. So even though I debuted in 2020, I wasn't getting service time all those years, because otherwise I'd have 2.5, 3 years essentially at this point. But because I was going up and down, I lose out on a lot of time, and it never really works that smoothly for guys. Like, obviously there's guys who do, and those are the guys you hear about. Those are the prodigies. Those are the guys that sign huge contracts. But that's kind of the basics. It's a little more complicated than that. But
Okay, so you have 2 more years of service time.
to get to arbitration. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I understand that. Yeah, we I think, did we speak about that, Matze, in one episode about the arbitration stuff because of Soto and Judge, maybe?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah. We
How
talked about
different
that
are the things
with
contract wise, and the negotiations and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We talked about it.
So you can trade it. You can be traded every time when the window is open.
Whenever, yep.
And you can also be released. You can be released all the time, or also just in a.
As long as you're not hurt. If you're hurt, you can't. But yeah, they could release me tomorrow.
Wow.
Okay. And then you're a free agent. You can sign the different. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. But yeah, and trade it just in the trade windows or off season.
Yeah. But I mean, our trade window is a little bigger. I mean, it's basically July 31st is the end, and it starts with the off. So it's off season. So say November to July 31st. It's a really small time where you can't.
Okay. I thought it's okay.
Yeah.
It's like
That whole
soon
time.
5 days after the World Series, right? Something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that. Right after the season ends, you can start, and then all the way around to July 31st.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can
what do you
there's still ways to trade after the trade deadline.
Yeah, there's some weird loopholes
Yeah.
where it's like a waiver trade, but you would never get like a big time name from that kind of thing because of the way it works. I think they have to clear waivers and then get traded, which is a whole nother story. I don't even understand waivers, to be honest.
There's
like
there's so many loopholes within like for the organizations.
Yeah,
I need to
to
get my
figure
charger.
that out.
What do you expect? You think you'll stay in Toronto for the next season as well? Do you have some indication, or you say like?
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, that being like, just because the trade deadline is such a small period. I mean, it's not like guys are getting traded every year all the time. Obviously, it depends, but I hope I'm here. I'd love to be here.
As long as the stats are okay, you have your starting spot.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you have a rotation order? Like there's the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guy, or do you have like, of course, maybe in New York where they have the Grom Scherzer for sure, they are 1 and 2. But do you have that, for example, in Toronto, that you have a clear number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spot?
Yeah, it's not like they say, "Hey, this is the number 1 guy," but like everyone knows. So I'm the guy at the end. I'm the number 5 guy.
Okay,
And
so
then
your number.
like, yeah, and then we go 1 through 5 from there.
Who's 1? Is Manoah or Berrios? Manoah?
It'd be Manoah or Gossman.
Oh
Those
yeah,
are
Goss.
the two. Manoah and Gossman, and then Barros. I mean, Barros is nasty too. He's just.
Who's on 4? Or who's the?
It'd probably be Stripling, and then Barrios, and then me.
Okay.
But I mean, it's not like once it comes to playoff time, that's when that stuff matters. But during the season, it's kind of they just match up guys who are doing well.
Okay.
But nobody really comes up as the number 1 guy, right? Like you kind of come up and you earn your way into becoming like the guy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Manoah is a guy who's taking that spot on crazy quick. I mean, he debuted last year and shoved, and then this year he's shoved. It's crazy. So like he's about as quick as you'll see.
Why is he struggling with the sinker? He had some in the last few appearances. Like he hit Judge, and then he was like, he said like he struggled with the sinker. Is it? Do you know why? Or is it a mechanical thing? Like it's for me, it's very interesting in that.
Yeah.
kind of-
I think he's a guy who misses. So it's called an arm side miss. So like to the right, he's a right-handed thrower and he misses to that side, up and in to a righty. So he hits a lot of righties in general because his ball moves like that a lot. And I think he was talking about, I mean, to get specific, he was talking about like front hip two seams to lefties. So Marcus was right. That's like a two seam that goes inside to a lefty that looks like it's going to hit him at their front hip and then moves back over the plate for a strike.
Yeah.
So that pitch and then like the up and in pitch up and in to righties. He's been hitting people or missing his location and getting hurt on it. That's just one of those things. I don't think it's a mechanical thing. It's just sometimes you just miss execute, you know.
Yeah, it's like when I was hitting my phone when I tried to throw the two-seamer, I broke my phone because I was filming myself and I put the phone on the
Right-hand
thing.
side from the net.
Yeah, on the right-hand side.
He
to film
texted me about 5 minutes earlier. Watch out! I'm gonna show you how I work on my pitches. I send you a video in a couple of minutes. I'm still waiting for that video today because he literally broke his phone. He hit his phone, and then he sent me a picture from his iPad of his phone, and this thing was bent literally like this.
Oh my
The screen
God.
was shattered.
So yeah, that's the Alec Manoah right there.
Yeah, I
Right.
made the Manoah for sure.
Yeah.
Like the phone was dead. And the thing was, it was Saturday evening, so all stores were closed. I was without phone until Monday afternoon.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah,
I have a bad habit of breaking my phone at the bars.
that's a normal thing that you do. But if you are
As
a
opposed to,
stupid
throwing
guy,
the
if you're
ball.
stupid as me, you break your phone during you try to pitch. If you're not
I love
staying in
it.
your sport.
All right.
All right, guys. I think I kind of need to go.
Yeah.
But
Hey, Mitch, I really, really appreciate you, man. Like,
yeah, that's so much.
especially this short notice, like the fact that you took your time and means a lot.
Almost 1.5 hours. We'll appreciate it. Thank you very
Man,
much.
thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it. This was fun, guys. Thanks for
Hopefully
having me.
Hopefully you guys make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Got this
And
little line coming up.
hopefully with a good, hopefully we'll have a start in a big game.
Exactly.
Will be cool.
Coming up.
So
Beautiful.
I'll see you September 22nd.
Perfect.
I'll shoot you a text before.
Yeah, just let me know. We'll figure out the details then, but sounds good. All right, guys.
All right, man. Hey,
bye, Mitch.
An honor.
Later.
Have a good day.
Cool.
Nice.
Very nice.
So, wir sind noch in der Aufnahme.
Live. Ja.
Genau.
Mitch
Aber
White.
ist doch genauso, wie ich euch erzählt habe, oder? Ist ein super
Ja,
lockerer, super entspannter Typ.
Super Typ. Ich fand auch, was ich richtig cool fand, ist, dass er sich auch tatsächlich sehr für den europäischen Sport und Fußball interessiert hat. Weil ich denke, wahrscheinlich
ist das einfach
Fragen
so. Gestellt.
Ja, eben. Ja. Weil er hat gesagt, irgendwann, now I'm curious. Ja, jetzt will ich auch mal was von euch wissen, weil ich meine, man kennt es ja in Amerika, da bist du so isoliert und hast mehr oder weniger keine Verbindung nach außen und dann hat er gesagt, hey, jetzt erzähle ich schon mal mit ein paar Deutschen, jetzt kann ich dir auch mal Sachen fragen, die mich interessieren.
Ja, ich finde vor allem, dass gerade Profisportler, ich meine, Julian, du kennst das wahrscheinlich aus dem Fußball noch mit am besten, du wirst immer gefragt. Du wirst der immer der geinterviewt wird und du stellst nie selber Fragen. Und die meisten Profis vergessen, wie es ist, überhaupt interessiert zu sein an anderen Leuten. Weil es geht immer nur um dich selbst. Es geht immer nur darum, was du gerade machst, wie es dir geht, wo du spielst. Und ich fand es cool, dass er halt von alleine rausgekommen ist und gesagt hat, ey, wie ist das denn bei dir, Julian? Wie ist das denn im Fußball? Und wie ist das denn, fand ich geil.
Ich habe noch auf die Fragen gewartet an Matze, wie das denn beim TÜV ist, aber die kamen nicht.
Ja, gut.
Nein, aber ich
Ja,
merke das
ja.
ja selber, wenn ich Fragen stellen kann. Jetzt bin ich ja
Ja.
quasi auch auf der anderen Seite und es macht eigentlich viel, viel mehr Spaß, Fragen zu stellen, als Fragen zu beantworten.
Ja,
Und
ist
wenn du dann
geil, ne?
natürlich auch so offen theoretisch, ne, wenn das jemand sieht von seinen Gegnern, von seinen Hittern, die wissen jetzt genau, dass der auf jeden Fall First Pitch die Zone treffen will, am besten mit seinem Slider. Das fand ich
Das ist so
grundsätzlich,
egal. Also
ja, ne?
das ist völlig irrelevant. Der Mitch könnte heute ein Interview machen und sagen, wie er vorhat, morgen gegen die zu werfen. Das weiß jeder. Also die Scouting Reports sind ja eigentlich alle gleich. Das heißt,
Ja.
jede Mannschaft sieht, wo sie Probleme haben und so werden sie halt auch gepitcht. Und der Unterschied ist nur, dass Mitch Slider vielleicht so und so viel mehr sich bewegt als der von dem anderen. Aber es ist einen runden Ball mit einem runden Schläger zu treffen, wird für immer super schwer sein. Also es gibt Pitcher, die werfen nur Fastballs. Guck dir den Hendricks an, Liam Hendricks. Der wirft nur Sinker und die Leute treffen das nicht. Also das ist, du kannst wissen, was kommt und es ist trotzdem schwer, einen Baseball zu schlagen.
Ja, das stimmt. Ey, siehe Edwin
Das-
Diaz, der hat
ja.
auch nur 2 Pitches, der hat nur Fastballs leider.
Ja.
Also,
Ich habe ja 6 Pitches selber und ich habe mich immer gefragt, wie es sich anfühlen muss. Ich weiß manchmal nicht, was ich werfen soll. Wie ist es denn, wenn du nur Fastballs leider hast? Also das muss so
einfach.
komisch sein. Ja, oder? Das muss doch so simpel, aber auch so komisch sein. Einfach Fastball, nein, dann weiß doch jeder, was jetzt kommt. Ja,
Wenn du einmal den Kopf schüttelst, dann ist es immer 50-50.
50-50, ja. Das ist wie den 50-50-Joker zu nehmen. Ja.
Aber
Aber
ich
es kommt
sag
dann
dir,
natürlich darauf an, wo in
lieber,
der Zone. Ne?
ja, aber lieber 2, die du, klar, natürlich ist es eine Difference, ob du Closer bist oder Starter, muss man ja auch nochmal sagen. Aber grundsätzlich, sagen wir mal, aus einer Starter-Perspektive ist es ja eigentlich, sag ich mal, lieber 3, die wirklich super funktionieren, mit denen du confident bist, als 5, wo du 2 oder 3 hast, mit denen du regelmäßig vielleicht ein bisschen Struggle hast. Oder nicht so
Ja,
genau
das
bist.
ist ja der Grund, warum ich so viele hatte immer, war, weil wenn einer mal an einem Tag nicht funktioniert, den du normalerweise benutzt, dann hast du halt noch 5 andere. Wenn du jetzt aber
Ja.
nur Fastball Slider wirfst und du bist ein Starter, ich sag jetzt mal, wenn DeGrom rausgeht und überhaupt kein Gefühl für seinen Fastball hat, ist sein Slider immer noch gut genug, dass der den 70 Mal werfen kann. Wenn jetzt aber jemand wie Mitch zum Beispiel rausgeht, der 3 Pitches hat und selber sagt, dass er seinen Changeup nicht gerne wirft, wenn sein Fastball heute an dem Tag nicht gut ist, dann hat er wirklich nur noch einen Pitch, der dann auch nur Average ist für die Major League in dem Augenblick.
Ja.
Das ist halt das, also.
Das ist halt der Unterschied, ne?
Ja.
Nun gut. Okay.
Ja.
Alles klar. Dann
Guys.
Hoffentlich, liebe Leute, hat es euch draußen Spaß gemacht. Wir drücken jetzt gleich auf Übertragung beenden und dann laden wir das hoch. Ich muss mal gucken, wann es auf Spotify erscheint, keine Ahnung. Aber YouTube ist eigentlich besser, weil jeder hat YouTube. Nicht alle haben Spotify, lustigerweise.
Du kannst aber auf Spotify auch eigentlich alle Podcasts hören. Ich bin kein Premium-Member und kann mir alles anhören.
Aber manche mögen einfach kein Spotify. Also da gab es schon Leute, die haben gesagt, die machen nur Apple. Ja, dann.
Sei es drum. Gut.
Sorry. So.
Ja.
Dann war's. Matze, es war.
Wir
müssen aber.
haben wir das jetzt
Wir müssen das aber standesgemäß beenden.
Markus, du kennst deinen Part, ne?
Ich kenne meinen Part.
Du bist jetzt der
Jules.
Jules.